What it do, what it does, welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody's doing fantastic, because today I've got something special for you. Now listen, I know not everybody has some of the best cards in the game of Marvel Snap. As a matter of fact, some of you just started playing, whether it's a few days, few weeks, or even a few months ago like me. And if you were like me, you were not sure what cards to play, what decks were good, and what combinations would be effective for you to win games. Well, if that sounds like you, guess what? Your boy got you covered. Today, I'm gonna be giving you 5 of the top decks that are in Pool 1 and Pool 2. The way Marvel Snap releases their cards to the players, they use a pool system. And that pool system is closely tied to your collector level. So depending on what your collector level is, that will determine what kind of cards you are able to unlock. And in general, if you're a new player, you're gonna be in either Pool 1 or Pool 2. Now, before we jump right into these decks, make sure you hit that subscribe button and smash that like button. Each like helps get our videos in the recommended, and you can show your appreciation for these videos by liking and subscribe. So let's check them out. So first, as you can look underneath me right here, we have a Pool 2 Spectrum deck. This deck includes Ant-Man, Armor, Colossus, Mr. Fantastic, Captain America, Cosmo, Namor, Iron Man, Professor X, Claw, Spectrum, and Onslaught. Now, what you're gonna do with this deck is able to utilize the power of ongoing effects to be able to push massive amounts of power on the board, and you are able to slam even more power on turn 6 by utilizing either Spectrum or Onslaught. Spectrum has the ability to give your ongoing cards +2 power. And you can see how strong that is because a significant majority of the cards you're playing in this deck are going to be ongoing based effects, especially with the likes of Iron Man. Iron Man has the amazing ability of doubling the total power at a specific location. And what's so great about this deck, it has a few control elements as well by utilizing the power of Professor X. Professor X allows you to lock down a location, so when you get a lead on turn 5, you can play Professor X and it shuts it down. You automatically have that location won. So the next deck we're gonna showcase here is a Pool 2 Devil Dinosaur deck. I will tell you that this is one of the strongest decks in Pool 1/Pool 2. If you get these cards, I highly recommend that you add these cards to your deck, and you will find that you're gonna win a lot of matches and get a lot of cubes fast. It all starts off with the card Devil Dinosaur. Now, Devil Dinosaur has the ongoing effect that gives you +2 power for this card for each additional card that you have in your hand. Now, this card can get extremely strong. I've seen Devil Dinosaurs that were 18, 19 power. And that's a lot of power for a 5-cost card. And we're able to keep our hand strength pretty high with the effect of Moon Girl. On turn 4, if you have Devil Dinosaur in your hand, it is an awesome play to play Moon Girl on a location because it duplicates your hand. And then for turn 5 and 6, you have a Devil Dinosaur play, followed by another Devil Dinosaur play, which is massive vertical power. Then when you combine that effect of Moon Girl with the combination of Collector, you can see how you can start off with a very small Collector and build them up to be pretty respectable source of power on a location. So you do not want to forget about your Collector. So to round it all off, we have Nova, Agent 13, the Collector, Bucky Barnes, Carnage, Sentinel, Killmonger, Deathlock, Shang-Chi, Moon Girl, White Queen, and Devil Dinosaur. Next, we're going to be talking about one of the most fun decks that you can play. It's an Odin-based list. It is an on-reveal based deck, and I like to call this just a Pool 2 Odin deck. It uses Elektra, Nightcrawler, Rocket Raccoon, Medusa, Mr. Sinister, Ironheart, Wolfsbane, Jessica Jones, Enchantress, White Tiger, and Spider-Woman. This deck is extremely fun to play. I could tell you there's so many games when using this deck that you're able to get immense power on the board on turn 6 just by dropping your Odin on a location where you have cards like White Tiger, Wolfsbane, and a Spider-Woman. You're able to get a lot of power. I think that this is a great deck and extremely fun to play at Pool 2 because Odin has the amazing ability to activate all the on-reveal abilities of your other cards at this location. And you're going to be using that effect on cards like Spider-Woman, cards like White Tiger, which adds a 7-power tiger to another location, Ironheart, which gives 2 power to 3 other friendly cards. So effectively, that's 3 energy spent for a 6-power value. That sounds like a great bargain to me. Then you can add on a little bit of counterplay with Enchantress, so you can remove the ongoing abilities at this location, so you're able to counter cards like Iron Man and other ongoing cards that may be problematic against your deck. This is one of the most fun decks that you can play. I highly recommend it. For deck number 4, we're going to be moving back over into the control space. This deck I like to call a Pool 2 Storm control deck. This deck is extremely fun. You're able to surprise people with an Infinite play on turn 6 if you're able to do so. So it utilizes cards like Sunspot, Hawkeye, Iceman, Nightcrawler, Armor, Lizard, Storm, Jubilee, Shang-Chi, Jessica Jones, America Chavez, and Infinite. What's cool about this deck is you're able to control how your opponent plays the game, and when you know where your opponent's going to play, it gives you a big advantage on how you're going to play your turn. This is much more of a difficult kind of deck to play, but it is very hard to be able to counter decks like this because they're playing based off their opponent. And oftentimes for strategy games, you do really well when you're able to know what they're going to do and you're able to counter them, especially with great effects like Storm. Her ability says flood this location. Next turn is the last turn cards can be played here. So the awesome thing about Storm is she'll flood the location. As you can see, this is what the location looks like. And then after that, the following turn, cards can no longer be played there. You're able to lock down lanes from being played as long as you can control where your opponent is playing as the game progresses. You also have cards like Infinite. Infinite says if you played a card last turn, you can't play this. Now, at first, you'll look at this and be like, well, why would I play this card? This card is like, I can't play on turn 5. I'm skipping a turn. Well, when you have cards like Sunspot on the board that gives you +1 power on him for each energy not spent per turn, if you skip your turn 5, that's 5 power going directly to Sunspot. In addition to that, if you have played Jessica Jones on turn 4, you're about to get +4 power on turn 5 because you're not going to play a card in the same location she's at. So you're able to get a lot of surprise power and consistent power on the board throughout the game. This is a very fun deck to play. I recommend everybody give it a try if you have these cards. Again, these are Pool 1 and Pool 2 cards. Try it out. And last but not least, this is one of my favorite decks in Marvel Snap. When I was first playing, I used this deck almost exclusively as I was playing the ladder. This is one of my favorite decks that utilizes one of my favorite play styles, which is Power Slam. And Power Slam is slamming all of your power on the board on turn 6, so you surprise your opponent. This is called My Boy Blue, Pool 2 Boy Blue, and it uses Sunspot, Ant-Man, Iceman, Iron Fist, Nightcrawler, Rocket Raccoon, Squirrel Girl, Angela, Bishop, Captain America, Kazar, and Blue Marvel. Now, some people like to call this a kazoo list. It is what it is. I like to call it My Boy Blue because Blue Marvel is the man. But the goal of this deck is to play your Blue Marvel on turn 5 and then slam a whole lot of powerful cards on turn 6. Now, you may look at this deck and be like, hey, all of these cards are really cheap. They don't have a lot of power. What's going on? I understand that. But when you combine the effect of Blue Marvel, which says your other cards have +1 power, you add that with the effect of Kazar that says your 1-cost cards have +1 power, that will show you that your cards here that have 1 and 2 power will out of nowhere suddenly have 4 and 5 power each, and that's a lot of power to have on a location, all while you're ramping up your Bishop. And your Bishop says after you play a card, this card gains 1 power. Now, it doesn't matter what location you play the card to, Bishop basically gains power as the game goes on. This should be an automatic turn 3 play. If you have Bishop in your hand, you play it on turn 5. If you have Blue Marvel in your hand, play it on turn 4. If you have Kazar in your hand, play it. For turns 1 and 2, on turn 1, you want to hopefully have your Sunspot, get your Sunspot down. On turn 2, you want to get Iceman, Ant-Man, or Iceman, Nightcrawler, or there are many different play lines you can go to get a lot of power on the board. This deck right here is my personal favorite. I recommend if you have these cards here, you need to give this deck a try. My Boy Blue, check it out. All right, that is it for the top 5 Pool 1 and Pool 2 decks. If you're new to Marvel Snap, I recommend that you keep playing. It is an awesome game. These Pool 1 and Pool 2 decks will help you climb the ladder so you can win more games, get more cubes, unlock more cards. Please don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. I will be bringing you new and fresh videos. And if you have any other good recommendations for some solid decks in Pool 1 and Pool 2, make sure you leave a comment in the comment section, and I will see you guys next time.